Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and today we're going to read some romantasy. Given that this video is coming out the week of Valentine's Day, I wanted to bring back a fan favorite of two people, my Kelsey Reads Romance series. So I don't know what number we're at right now, but I will leave a link to the playlist up above somewhere in the cards. And to make it special, to make this Kelsey Reads Romance vlog special, we're going to be reading some popular romantasy. The last time I did it, it wasn't the most popular romantasy. I think it was just the ones I had maybe available on my Kindle or ones that I had already ordered. And now we're really moving into like, I purposely got these books because they are like the hot romantasies that I've seen for the past couple of years. And I really wanted to give romantasy like a solid try. Fantasy is one of my favorite genres. So you would think if I wanted to get more into romance, more into enjoying romantic books, I would want to read fantasy romance books. And what we saw last time was that I was struggling with finding a really good balance between the romance plot and the fantasy plot. And I think that that is really what I'm looking for when I'm thinking about the romantasy that I want to enjoy. As we move forward in this vlog, we're really going to see, are these books balancing really well the romance versus a really engaging fantasy plot? That's what I want in a perfect romantasy for me. So let's see which books we're putting to the test today. The first book we're reading for this vlog is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. After that, I picked up Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. Next up was fan favorite Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And we ended off the vlog with Guild by Raven Kennedy. So I will send you back to Kelsey 1 week ago where I started these romantasy books and we'll see which one is the winner. Hello! You are currently placed precariously on the couch because my son has learned how to climb and he is able to get himself up onto the table and touch stuff, pick stuff up. And so a lot of my stuff is not safe anymore. So I have created a boundary next to me where hopefully he can't reach, at least right now, for his length of torso. And we're gonna go from here. So this is the first update for my romantasy vlog. And as you saw, I started with The Serpents and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I am about 150 pages in, which is 1/3. This is the first book in the Crown of Nyaxia series, but the first book also in like a duet in that series. Our main character in this book is named Oriah. She is the adoptive human daughter of a vampire prince, I think, or king. Yes. And her only chance to become more of a person, more of a warrior in this world, more equal to the vampires, let's say, is to enter this competition of trials called the Kajari, which is this like legendary tournament held by the goddess Nyaxia herself. But obviously in the Kajari, in this tournament, she is surrounded by other vampire youth who are obviously far more stronger, far more magical, and far more bloodthirsty than she is. So from the introduction, which I hope I remember to say, because I always film my introductions later, I wanted to mark out the things that are important to me in romantasy so that we can find a romantasy that I will like. And I'm thinking strategically that Serpent and the Wings of Night does contain some aspects of romantasy that I think I will enjoy and that I think are necessary for me to enjoy. So firstly, the fantasy part of romantasy needs to feel developed to me. I need to feel like we're in a world of which I can imagine myself in. I need to feel like there are stakes outside of the romance. I need to feel like our main character has other motivations, other fantastical motivations outside of a romance. So that's number one. Do I think The Serpents and the Wings of Night contains that? Yes. I actually find the first 150 chapters, although I can imagine who the romantic interest is, we aren't necessarily in a romance at all. This is a slow burn, which I will say I think I like. I like yearning. I like slow burns. So I'm going to add that as one of my caveats. I feel like in the romance aspect, we need to have some yearning there. So I like in the first 150 pages, we're not meant to believe that they are together or that they've fallen in love. I like that they've just met and they met in like a romantasy way where she accidentally stabs him because she thinks he's going to attack her because he is a vampire and she is a human. So I love that. There's tension. But Oriah's main motivation is to win the Kajari. It's not to fall in love. It's not to find love. So I like that. I also want in my romantasy some smut. So I'm hoping that obviously in the first 150 pages, we're not going to have that because like I said, the yearning has to come first. But I would like some sort of sex scene to happen in this book. In regards to the love interest, I like a love interest who yearns on the inside but outwardly teases our main character, acts like he doesn't like her. Those kind of things I enjoy. And I feel like Rain, which is who I'm going to mark right now in the first third to be the love interest, is teasing her, is making fun of her, playing games with her, that sort of thing I like. And it is coming in like a serious way in a sense because obviously he's a vampire, so he's always a threat to her, but in a jovial, like sort of loving way. He's helping her and trying to allow her to survive through the trials, which I appreciate. So I do think that this could mark a successful romantasy for me. We're going to see, I'm going to read the next 150 pages or so and come back and update you. Sorry if you can hear my son's toys in the background. He is homesick from daycare today. And so I'm like half working, half updating these vlogs, half taking care of him. So I'm allowing him to play with his like toys right now. I just want him to feel rested and good and happy. That's the goal. As for the first third, she has completed 2 of the trials, both with the help of Rain, is surviving through the vampires. They are sort of uninterested in her right now because they've been given blood to feed off of outside of Oriah. But I have a feeling that as the trials further and as the tournament furthers, they're going to run out of blood and she'll become more of a target. That's my assumption. So we're going into the next third. Enjoying it so far. I will update you in a bit. Hello. So I did, in fact, get another third of the way through The Serpent of the Wings of Night, and I'm still really, really enjoying this. I'm actually quite happy reading this because I feel like The Serpent and the Wings of Night was arguably, like, all of these books in this vlog are the most popular romantasies that I've heard of in the last 2 years, right? That's the whole premise of this vlog. But I feel like The Serpent and the Wings of Night was one that was like marked particularly as an extremely well written romantasy as well, and one that did focus on the fantasy. And I can honestly say that I believe that that rings true with my experience so far. We are 2/3 of the way through the book and they haven't so much as like right now we're getting like subtleties of like, oh, he touched my arm a little too long, or like his back was muscular, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on here? We're getting a lot of the development of them as friends, or rather allies, more than romantic interests. Like obviously, look, we all know they're going to be romantic. But what I'm liking is that they're working harder together as allies and getting to know each other on like a personable level over like just the fact that they're into each other. There have been the different parts are interjected with like these past scenes, and I think they are meant to allude things about Ariah's relationship with her father, then this relationship between 2 other people and this relationship between 2 other children. I'm slowly, I think, starting to piece together what these relationships are, who's involved, and I do think Rain knows a lot more about Ariah's past than he's currently letting on, and I feel like obviously that is going to maybe be our conflict in the last third. We'll see. Obviously there will be, because this is a romance book and there is always a third act conflict. Right now where we are in regards to like the plot tournament, the house itself where all the vampires and Oriah are staying for the Kajari for the tournament has now removed all of the blood sources that were available to them to drink so that they could satisfy themselves and be strong. Now we have Oriah, a human, locked in a home mansion area with a bunch of bloodthirsty and extremely starved vampires. So we'll see how that unfolds in the last third. Obviously, it raised the stakes. Obviously, it is intriguing me. And I'm really hoping that Carissa Broadbent can really hone in on a really satisfying ending, because I would love to read the sequel to this. I know it is a 5-book series or 6-book series, but every 2 books is like a new couple. So like the world is a 6-book series, but this I think is just a duology, which intrigues me. I think I could like that. So I'm interested to see how this ends, if I feel satisfied, if I want to continue. And other than that, my son is feeling a lot better. He's at daycare right now, so I'm really happy about that because I'm able to like work and read and not have to check in on him, because obviously he was really, really sick these past 2 days. So I'm very happy that he's feeling better and that he's happy at daycare. He loves daycare. And I myself just finished eating lunch. I heated up like a pastina soup that I made this week, and I'm going to continue working and listening to the book. So see ya. Hello. Please ignore what's going on over here. But I finished The Serpent and the Wings of Night just now, and I'm actually so impressed with this. I go, as I mentioned in this vlog, into romantasy like mostly not expecting much. At least in the past, what I've experienced with romantasy was not giving what I wanted it to give. I really, really want just an engaging plot that has a romance that feels satisfying to me, and more often than not with romantasy, we're really lacking with one or the other. And I think I really did find that with this series. I think it was apparent in my updates that I was enjoying my time with this this book. The tournament style plot, along with like a royal court political aspect, was really, really interesting to me. And honestly, it kept me engaged the entire time. I pretty much read this book in what feels like 2 entire sittings because I just couldn't put it down. One of my complaints is that I wish there was additional information on the political aspects of the book because it was really looming in the background of the tournament, especially when it came to the motivations of our main characters. So I would have really liked to know more about that. There were also some cringe things about the writing, like talking about how small Araya was. But in general, I was mostly just looking past them because I was really enjoying my time with this. So I ended up giving it a 4 stars. I really do think I'm going to continue with this series. So the next book I want to pick up is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. I got this as a gift from my friend Stephanie. So I'm really excited to read this because obviously it was picked for me. And it is another romantasy that I've heard really, really good things about. And a lot of people who have picked this up have enjoyed it. But what is it about? I know it's about demons, I think, or like the gods of hell or something like that, because I know it's very similar to her other series, The Kingdom of the Wicked, which I read an arc of so long ago. And I enjoyed it for what it was, but I think I was missing more development, at least in the characters, which I'm hoping this book gives. The Prince of Envy has never claimed to be a saint, but when a cryptic note arrives signaling the beginning of a deadly game, he knows it will take more than a hint of sin to win and save his fallen demon court. Riddles, hexed objects, anonymous players, nothing will stand in his way, though none of his meticulous plans prepare him for her, the frustrating artist who ignites his skin like no other. Together, Envy and Camilla must embark on a perilous journey throughout the underworld, from glittering demon courts to the sultry vampire realm and beyond, while trying to avoid the most dangerous trap of all, falling in love. So let's start this now. I'm excited because I did, like I said, like Carrie Maniscalco's writing, at least in Kingdom of the Wicked. So I'm hoping that that transcends here and I'm going to enjoy this as well. Hello, welcome to the first update of Throne of the Fallen. I am now 1/3 of the way through the book, which is about 188 pages. I'm enjoying it, I think, for what it is. I definitely don't think this is my favorite of the 2 books. Like Serpent in the Wings of Night, I was immediately drawn to it within the first 1/3. And with this one, I'm listening to it and it's fine. I'm not engaged with our main characters that much. Our 2 characters, we have Prince Envy. He seems to be on this like mission of collecting sort of these cursed objects, and it's part of an outside game that we're not privy to as the readers. And Envy needs to get this painting of a cursed object. And the only person that's able to create this painting is this woman named Camilla. And so he's initially very fascinated by Camilla with the fact that she's able to paint these things and he really, really desperately needs her. But he is not a man of the times. Like obviously he extends time. He's a god, a prince. Camilla is very much like, why are you talking to me in private? Like, you know what that's going to do to me societally. So they get engaged in a sense so that he's able to protect her while she is creating this object and not being attacked by other people who are also, I think, privy to this game that Prince Envy is also a part of. So there's men in the society that are playing this game that Prince Envy is also playing, and they have to collect these items and collect these objects. And I think that that's why Camilla is so interesting and fascinating. We're also getting slight backstory, like clues into the fact that her father and mother might have been a part of this fairy lore in the background. We have the romantic relationship that's going on between Envy and Camilla. And so because we are in like a sort of Victorian upper class society, Camilla is very much like, you're going to ruin my reputation. A lot of that, which is why Envy proposes to her, so that it makes sense that they would spend alone time together. And because of that, they are spending alone time together. The sex scene that I just read was interesting because there is this like allure of they're not allowed to do these things due to the propriety of the society, right? So I think I'm going to enjoy like that aspect, that very like they can't do this forbidden sort of thing. But the overall plot, I think, is just not as engaging as I would like it to be to keep me interested in the romance. Like I said, the most important part to me in a romantasy is that the fantasy aspect is just as engaging and just as interesting as the romantic aspect. And I feel like with this, maybe we're looking more at a romance aspect. The plot could be interesting. Obviously, there are stakes in the game, right? It is a game in the background that fairies and princes are playing. So I think that that could be interesting. I'm just hoping that it's interesting enough to keep me engaged with the more subtleties of the romantic aspect of the book. if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to continue listening to this. I am technically working, but it is a snow day for my son. There was, obviously, I'm sure you've heard, the East Coast was getting a major snowstorm. It doesn't seem that bad, I'll be honest, outside for a Canadian. Obviously, I don't feel like driving on the roads if I don't have to. So we're staying home today. I'm online, but obviously, like, everybody understands that I'm limited to what I could be doing. It is 10:30, so we're probably going to make lunch in like half an hour. Okay. And that's it. I'm at the whims of my son today, and we'll see what happens. Hello. So I made it 2/3 of the way through Throne of the Fallen, and I think the plot has really stepped up in regards to like what's going on. Obviously it has, but I mean, like, I think it's been a bit more interesting. So we are understanding that Camilla has more to do with the goings on of this game that Prince Envy is playing than we initially thought. We are understanding a bit more about the relationships between the Fae, the princes of hell, the humans that are doing business with the Fae realm, and all of that. There's also vampires in here. So it's giving very much like an urban fantasy setting, but obviously in a Victorian Londony type of world, which I think is interesting. And I do see the appeal of that sort of setting. It's just that myself, and I think I feel this way with urban fantasy settings a lot as well, is that I just feel like a lot is going on and we don't really feel captured in the narrative of the story. It's obvious that this is going to be a series because there is this building up of like, there's this prince, the unseelie king, the vampire world, what's going on with the princes of hell, and then also nods to the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which Carrie Maniscalco had written before this, which I told you I read the first book. So all of that is fun in like isolated settings, and they do play a factor into how the humans get involved, right? Because the humans are enamored with Fae creatures because the Fae have this like pull over humans, and the vampires have this pull over humans. Oh, and there was also a succubus, and obviously a succubus has this pull over humans. So it makes sense why these mythical creatures would like get together in order to play games with the humans and involve themselves in these games, because the appeal is there to be a part of this like fantastical world. We also are meant to understand that Camilla's background, so her parents, have more to do with this Fae realm and like something's going on there. That is the reason why Camilla is able to do her forgeries. And then, of course, on top of it all, we have the romance between Prince Envy and Camilla. And I'm actually going to argue that I think there's too much going on in the fantastical world and not enough going on in the romantical world. The fantastical world, we have way too much. It's confusing. And even though I understand the bare minimum, what's going on, there's so many levels that if you're not paying attention for like 1 second, I've had to rewind because I'm like, wait, how did a succubus get here? What's going on? Because there's so much to it, which I think could be developed in later series. Spoiler alert, I don't think I'm going to continue this series, but in later series I could see how all of these are going to come together and how it's going to be developed, very much akin to like a Cassandra Clare, the Shadowhunters series. So like I get that, but eventually I grew tired of that as well because it just was repetitive. It's the same things. It's just so there's so much going on that you have to remember. And then in terms of like the romantic sense, Camilla and Prince Envy have never not been attracted to each other, and that's okay, right? But I just don't feel like their relationship developed satisfyingly enough for me to be like, yeah, I understand why Prince Envy is doing the things that he's doing to protect Camilla. I understand why Camilla is genuinely affected by Prince Envy not being around or doing something to her. And it's like, okay, I don't care about their relationship. So this is like just turning out to be what I expect, a very average read, which is fine. We need those sometimes, but I was expecting a lot more. And I think part of it is that it's like a historical Victorian era fantasy, which I think I'm growing very tired of. I feel like that's the number one like cross genre setting that we see a lot. And then the romance is just not building up to something that like I feel substantially about. There's no yearning between them, which is what I need. So I'm going to read the last third today. I'm definitely going to finish this because I do want to start the next one. And I don't know if I should put up a poll, because here's the thing. So the next two books are Fourth Wing and Guilt. Guilt has the option to be one of the most horrid things I've ever read or genuinely surprised me. And that seems to be like the consensus that I see the like people who read romantasy. Like either they find Guilt to be like really obtuse and like gross, they don't like it at all, or it surprises people and it's like really amazing and like really affects people. Okay, cool. Then we have Fourth Wing, which I've heard sucks ass. It's the writing that a lot of people say is not up to par and I might not enjoy. Do I take the risk? Because either way, I could end the vlog in a bad place. But I think what would be more fun is guild, because either I'm surprised or I don't like it. Fourth wing, either I like it and that's like not a surprise, but maybe it is a surprise. I think I'm gonna put up an Instagram poll and make people pick. The only thing is that I don't want to end the vlog like both books could have the potential, but this one had the most potential to be so I'm happy that I'm reading it in the middle. The other two could genuinely surprise me. So I think I'm gonna do an Instagram poll. I just want to see what book people want me to read more, and then I'll make a decision from there. Hello. So I ordered some stuff from like this natural store that we have here in Montreal, and I've never like tried things on camera. So I figured we might as well do it together. I think we should go chocolate, the fruit riots, and then the pickles. I think that's the best course of action. So I've heard nothing but excellent things about coconut salt. I've tried the coconut yogurt that we have that's like made in Montreal, I think. And I really, really liked it. So I don't think I'm going to be one of those people that hates the taste. But apparently it's really sour, filled with probiotics, which I like. So that fucking slaps. Oh my god. That's really good. I love that. Okay. Then we have 2 flavors of Fruit Riot. Oh yeah, the coconut cold is chocolate mousse. That's the flavor I got. I got sour grapes because I figured I might as well try the OG. That made everybody freak out about it. I like that one. It's very cold though. I don't know if I like how cold they are, but I like the taste definitely. I love sour things. This is the spicy mango chili lime. I like tahini and I like sour spicy things, so I figured I'd probably like this. I don't know if it's the mango itself. I really don't like chewing into that one, so maybe I'll get used to it and it'll get better. So far, the winner is this, and then I've been really in a pickle phase lately. I've heard good things about these pickles. They're a bit frozen, I must say. Okay, I understand the hype with these. I get it completely. This is very good. The flavor, oh my god. And that's my haul. I'm a little disappointed about the spicy mangoes. I really thought those were gonna fucking hit. Impressed with the grapes. I think I understand the hype. These pickle spears, I understand the hype. Coconut cult, I understand the hype. The mangoes, they disappointed me today. Hello, I realized that through editing, I never summarized my thoughts for Throne of the Fallen. And honestly, I think that expresses itself enough. I obviously wasn't actively engaged with the novel enough to even remember to summarize it after I dived straight into Fourth Wing. Spoiler alert, that was the pick that was selected for my read after Throne of the Fallen. But I do think Maniscalco did a wonderful job creating a really evocative atmosphere and setting. And I do wish that we had actually spent time in the London that Maniscalco created, getting to know Camilla or even developing her relationship with Envy before we really had to dive right into their adventures in hell and within the other courts. I think that what I was trying to express in the other clips is that the romance was really lacking, or their relationship in general, or like what they felt for one another felt like it was lacking to me. And I think spending more time with them in London would have made their relationship feel much stronger. And I think I would have cared for them more as a couple. Rather, their relationship came off rather cringy and empty because we didn't spend enough time with them outside of the magical and the horny. I like both Camilla and Envy as characters, and I do like the journey that they took overall, but I don't feel like I felt as connected to their relationship as Carrie Maniscalco wanted to be, and how much I wanted to be. Similarly, I felt the same about the plot. I found it really interesting in some moments, but I also feel like nothing happened at the same time. And then I also feel like too much happened at the same time. My experience with this one was really weird, and I think that that's why I felt like I really needed to just leave my rating in the middle at 3 stars. And I think now looking back at this almost 2 weeks later, I definitely agree with this rating. I don't remember, aside from like the really obvious and big stuff, I don't really remember things from the book. So I think a 3 stars is like where I'm going to settle with this. And now you're going to jump into me immediately upon finishing the first third of Fourth Wing. But just to give you a little synopsis, Fourth Wing is the first book in the Empyrean Cycle series by Rebecca Yarros. It follows a young 20-year-old named Violet Soaringale, who is supposed to enter the scribe quadrant of the army in this ongoing war war that is occurring in this world. But the commanding general, who is also her mother, forces her to join the like Dragon Rider squadron. And it's harder for Violet because she is much smaller than everyone else. Her body is more brittle than everyone else. And on top of it all, the dragons are not the kindest to humans, and a lot of people end up dying in these trials. So I'll leave you with that, and we'll go into Kelsey after I finish the first third of Fourth Wing. Guys, what the fuck are we doing here? I am now a little bit more than 30% of the way through this, so about page 177. So this book follows our main character named Violet, whose mother is like the leader of this army. Every year they have a group of what seems like hundreds of kids join to be like dragon riders, and I guess these are like the soldiers of this world. We hear that this is like so brutal and it kills everybody, and the trials are not for babies, and you're gonna die if you don't do well. First of all, if you're running out of soldiers, I don't understand why this would happen. I think that's a main criticism that Fourth Wing gets, that it doesn't necessarily make sense. And I think, wild of me to say, I think Rebecca Yarros needed a lot of people to die to validate like an adult fantasy rating, in my opinion, because our main character Violet reads like a child. I think that I want to tread this lightly, obviously, because our main character is perceived as weak. It is described that her mother dealt with something while she was pregnant, and it has resulted in Violet being smaller than others. She has brittle bones, and our author also suffers from Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I believe that that is the perspective that she is writing Violet from. So I want to be kind to that and understand that she is writing a main character from her perspective, and she is trying to show this character being strong and doing things that her body wouldn't usually allow her to do. All of that is well. It is just that I don't know if Violet reads like a 20-year-old, and I don't know if the entire world building of this like army war dragon rider makes the most sense. I'm finding myself extremely frustrated by the like made up rules in this, and unfortunately, I do find our main character Violet to be incredibly annoying. I don't know if she is someone that I would speak to if I was involved in these trials and being a part of the dragon riders. She seems very, very, very annoying, but I understand that we are meant to like her. I have heard that Xaden is the most loved love interest that has come out of popular book talk books. I get the appeal, obviously. I think if I read this book maybe like 10 to 15 years ago when I was like 20, I think I would identify a lot with Xaden and liking Xaden because he is this tough bad boy character, and I often tend to both identify with these characters and like them. So I could see the appeal with Xaden. Violet, I feel like she has definitely been Stephanie Meyer'd. We are meant to put ourselves in this character, and I'm just really, really struggling with enjoying her. On top of it all, I don't think the world makes sense, like I said, with the concept of the fact that they are constantly at war and then they're just killing their kids and their soldiers in these trials and tribulations. Not sure if that makes 100% sense. And we are just getting right now 1/3 of the way in to the like dragon aspect of the book. And of course, our girl Violet gets bonded to 2 dragons, not 1 dragon like everybody else. And of course, it is the strongest and oldest dragon that picks her, the biggest one and the littlest one. So now we have the big one and the little one. And I just, it's like nice and fine and like simple, I guess, but just not maybe what I was coming into this book expecting. Like, this is one of the most popular romantasy books. Like, people I know that don't even read books, that don't even follow booktube and book talk, know about this book, have read this book, like this book. So I think I was expecting a bit more with this, and it's coming off very frivolous and silly to me.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
And maybe that sounds mean, but it's just like really frustrating for me to pick this up and care when there's nothing really in this book to care about, because I just feel like Violet's going to survive anyway. So like, what's the point of reading this? I will continue though, and I will suffer though for you guys. I will come back to you when I'm 66% of the way through. We'll see how I'm feeling. No, because wait a second. This is a bit agree. I'm enjoying this a little bit. I cannot tell you what has happened in the last third, but I suddenly became addicted. Is it the most ridiculous things that have happened? Yes. Did the dragons start talking? Yes. Did Violet start getting horny because her dragon got horny? Yes. Are the dragons and Xaden and Violet communicating with each other in each other's heads? Yes. Is Xaden calling Violet violence? Yes. All of these things. Very, very ridiculous. And yet I come to you open and willing and honest. I hope this is a safe space to admit that I was wrong in the last clip. I am understanding, I think, what people like about this book, and it is genuinely fun. I don't think the writing is amazing. I think Violet still reads as a child character. I do tend to find it a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm trying to remember that she is 20, and 20 is not the most the most experienced person in the world when you're 20 years old. So I'm trying to really keep that in mind, understand that she is supposed to be young even though she is an adult. There's still some ridiculous to this series. I don't understand all the deaths and violence because they lose so many soldiers all the time that I don't understand why their training regiment would kill them off as well. And of course, again, I still stand by the fact that Violet is a self-insert character and she's just so special and so different. And so we're supposed to really be yeah, this is why two dragons choose her and everybody wants to kill her because she's just so amazing. But I am really enjoying, I think, the relationship between Xaden and Violet now at this point, because I think Xaden treats her like an adult and treats her like a soldier, whereas the other people who've interacted with Violet don't, specifically her childhood friend Dane, which I'm so happy that we are not focusing on him anymore because he was quite frankly very annoying. I don't know how the last third is going to end, but I'll be honest, guys, I was wrong. I'm enjoying it. I'm surprised that I'm enjoying it because this wasn't the one that I thought I was going to enjoy. And I'm really enjoying, actually, aside from the ridiculous fantasyness of it, I think I like that the dragons are talking. I think it's a fun aspect of the book. It reminds me, I think, of childhood books that I've read. So I think that that's why I'm enjoying it. And I like that the dragons have an aspect in the book. Do I think it's cringy sometimes? Yes, of course. But I think part of that is this childhood nostalgia that I'm really liking about the dragons talking. And then secondly, I do think the romance between Xaden and Violet is interesting or engaging enough. I like the tension that they have. I like that they both find each other hot. They know that they shouldn't be together, but they're dragons are sort of forcing them to be together because their dragons are bonded mates. So they feel this sexual tension as well, which I think is ridiculous when you say it out loud, but I think it's an interesting aspect of their dynamic and of their relationship. So now my son is having his last bottle before bed. And I didn't talk actually about the last clips you saw, but I went to the Heated Rivalry rave and it was crazy and wild and I loved it and I had so much fun. That's it for now. So we're going to see if we can get this puppy to bed. And that's it for now. So I'm going to continue listening to this while I do all of that. And I will see you later. Okay, so as a freaking surprise to everyone, I really, really, really enjoyed this. I'm going to settle with a 3.5 stars because I think this is a really interesting thing about 3 stars that have just happened, because in the previous book, I don't even remember what the last book was. That's how little it stayed in my brain. Throne of the Fallen. Okay. So with Throne of the Fallen, it was just so unbelievably average to me, but nothing about it was inherently wrong, which is why I gave it 3 stars. When it comes to Fourth Wing, I think the writing in here is very obvious that it is Rebecca Yarros's first entry into romantasy in a way. Her characters, especially in the first 100 pages, are really, really not that strong, really underdeveloped. The world building in here doesn't necessarily make the most sense until the end of the book, but parts of it are still unclear, very mismatched, very confusing. And I think her development of her characters, I said this a lot, they feel like they're teenagers. And I feel like Rebecca Yarros wanted to write romantasy, which is why there is just some killing in here. But the characteristics of these characters feels very juvenile to me. And yes, they are young adults. Yes, I am 33. Mayhaps I would have behaved this way when I was 20. I don't know. I never entered a war with dragons, okay? But in regards to listening to it, reading it on the page, their actions and the way they speak to one another, or even the way Violet thinks, is very immature. Even Xaden himself, he calls Violet violence. If he did it one more time, I was gonna lose my fucking mind. It's so immature to me that those are aspects of, I think, the first 100 pages that really threw me off. I don't know what happened in the last 2/3, but I decided, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to enjoy this for what it is. And I did. So this is an example where the fun that I had with the novel and the enjoyment that I was experiencing is a 5-star experience, but my overall like thought process behind the writing and when I really get down to like the nitty-gritty of the world building and stuff like that, I wouldn't give it a 5 stars, which is where I land with a 3-star. And then because I found it just that much better than Throne of Fallen, I'm giving it that 0.5 to really distinguish it in my mind. So that's my overall reading for how I feel. In this book, I also had the like extra chapters that were in the hardcover releases of these books with Zayden's perspectives. And obviously, as I mentioned, I do like a bad boy character that yearns for a good girl. So obviously I was gonna like these chapters with Zayden. And I think overall I enjoy Zayden as a main character. Is he fairly just the average bad boy character who's like has a good heart and joined the revolution for good reasons, but he's really bad to his exterior officers? Like, yes, of course, I'm obviously gonna fall for that. So I think despite my expectations and despite like people telling me I was not going to like this, I think I went into this with really good expectations because I wasn't expecting to like it and I ended up really enjoying it, and I'm giving it like a more reasonable rating than like how I feel in my heart. But that makes me particularly worried because I thought that that was going to happen for Guild. And now I'm like, is this just going to be the boring average book? Like, I hope I hate it. I hope it surprises me like Fourth Wing. I just really hope it isn't average. And this, from what I understand, is like a King Midas retelling. And the paperback doesn't really provide much as a synopsis. This is the story of King Midas, or that's what we're always told, the Golden King with his palace of riches, and me, the girl he turned to gold. Up on the snowy mountains in the sixth kingdom of Araya, I am locked away in the High Bell Castle, away from all the dangers of the world below. No one can get in apart from him. King Midas rescued me from the streets. He gave me food, shelter, and his heart. I promise to love him forever. But when war comes to the kingdom, a deal is struck, and I am at the heart of a bargain. Everything I know starts to change. My love for Midas is challenged, my trust broken. Suddenly, I'm sent to travel between kingdoms to a future I no longer understand, and my spirit becomes truly tested. I'm always told this is his tale, but perhaps this is no longer the case. It's mine. I have no idea what this is about. All I know is that it's about King Midas. So we're going to start that. I am currently working, so I'm going to just get back to like my menial tasks, continue listening to this. I'm going to make myself a coffee desperately, and then I'm probably going to go pick up my son later. I might do some like little grocery shopping for supper tonight, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to get into the first third of this book. Hello. So I did, in fact, get 1/3 of the way through Guild last night, guys. Again, what the hell are we doing? I don't think I'm going to regret it this time. Much like with Fourth Wing, I think this first 100 pages is so clunky and rough to get into. I think, yes, the writing in here is not the strongest, but I feel like sometimes I have to sort of get over that when I'm reading like popular romantasy, because I think a lot of people just read it for like the smut and the like addictive nature of the book, much like with Fourth Wing. So I've seen a lot of positive reviews for this, and it wasn't the one I was expecting to hate. I was really expecting to hate Fourth Wing, which, as you guys know, surprised me. I can't help but compare the two because all I want to do is jump into Iron Flame, which is the second book in Fourth Wing series, and instead I'm reading a book about a woman's like sexual assault, and I find it to be very, very hard to listen to, especially because as I'm reading some reviews and whatnot, I'm realizing that this isn't the book where the romance begins. Like, the romantic interest, from what I understand, appears in this book, but their specific romance doesn't necessarily start. So I'm just reading about this girl who's made of gold. People just want to have sex with her, and like other countrymen want to have sex with her, and her king uses this to his advantage. Okay. I don't know. Like, I'm struggling to want to care, and I'm struggling to understand why this book is liked the way it is. The amount of positive reviews I've seen about this book makes me want to continue, because I'm like, well, there has to be something, much like with Fourth Wing. There has to be something here that is pulling people in. So I'm really hoping that we're going to have another instance of Fourth Wing where the first 100 pages, garbage, trash. I was like, what the heck is happening? And then the next 2/3 are going to pull me in. I'm really, really hoping this is going to happen. I'm going to continue listening to the next third, because that's when it changed for me with Fourth Wing. So I'm hoping that's when it changes for me with Guild. I'm also obviously working today, so I'm just listening to this on audio while getting a couple of things done. I think pretty soon I'm going to start making lunch. I like to eat lunch at 11 because I go to the gym at 1, so I would like at least an hour to digest my food before I start like running and jumping. So I think that's all I want to say so far. I'm going to go back, continue listening, and we'll see where we go from here. Hello, I just wanted to do a quick clip because I received a pre-order. I'm very excited about this pre-order, and I wanted to show you guys. So I had missed the Kickstarter for this so that it doesn't match my other Year of Sanderson releases. But honestly, I think I like this cover more than the Year of Sanderson release. So this is The Isles of Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson, and it is part of the Cosmere universe, but I think it's working as its own standalone. And usually I'm quite on top of Brandon Sanderson's new releases, but in the last like few years, I've fallen steadfast behind. If you know, you know, it's because of the Wheel of Time series. Anyways, so this is a new standalone novel expanding on the thrilling novella Sixth of the Dusk into a mythic tale that navigates the seas and stars of a far future Cosmere. I really like Sixth of the Dusk, if I remember correctly. I think so. Yeah, I found this to be, I gave it 3.5 stars because, again, it's still a novella, so it wasn't like fully expanded upon. But I mentioned that it was a really engaging novella and it had a really interesting magic system. And I found it interesting how Sanderson touched upon humanity's relationship with nature and technology. So that's what I remember really liking about it. All his life, Sixth of the Dusk has been a traditional trapper of aviar, the supernatural birds that his people bond with. Then one fateful night, he repels his people into a race to modernize before they can be conquered by the ones above, invaders from the stars who want to exploit the aviar. I'm really, really, really excited to read this. I wonder if, oh, yes, he is including the novella chapters. Oh, that's really fun. So I don't have to reread it. I'm super, super, super excited to read this one. And because it's a standalone, it makes it like less scary because I could pretty much read it alone. But you know me, I like to read things in order, and I saw online that you should read this after Wind and Truth, which is the next Sanderson book that I have to read in the Cosmere anyways. So it's not like I have much to read before this, just, a casual 1,300 page book before this, but whatever. So that is the pre-order that I got today. So it doesn't count because it's a 2026 release. If you watched my goals, I am on a complete book buying ban of backlist books this year, which you would think wouldn't be that difficult. You would think pre-orders would be the difficult issue here, but alas, it is not. It is really those backlist books that get me. So doesn't count. I'm within my book buying ban. It was a surprise because I completely forgot I pre-ordered that. I don't even think I included it in my 2026 new releases excitement. So surprise for me. It's pre-ordered. It's like I spent no money. So girl math. I just realized before I updated you on the mail I got, but then I didn't talk about how I got 2/3 of the way through Guild. Now, am I enjoying it more than before? Yes. I think the plot, the fantasy aspect of it has been, I wouldn't say captivating, because I definitely would not say I'm captivated by the book, but at least the plot is starting to pick up and it's keeping me like relatively engaged that I want to at least finish the book. In regards to the romance, I know that we don't necessarily meet her romantic interest in this one, or we do, but we don't know that that's the romantic interest. And I do think that that's an interesting choice. It really reminds me of Akatar, where we are not actually following the true romance and it becomes sort of like a twist of the book. But at the end of the day, I don't know if that's enough to make me like want to continue. Like, I need to see how this last third is and how actively interested I am to see if I want to continue the series and figure out who the romantic lead could be. The overwhelming amount of positive reviews I've seen of this book, they have to be rereads to me, because I don't know how, in retrospect, when you read the rest of the series and you come back to this, I could see how you enjoy this book. I could see that Raven Kennedy is setting up stuff. Like I said, the romantic interest isn't involved in this book. There's clearly some like political divide that's happening amongst the pages of the books that our main character doesn't necessarily understand. But I think the like overwhelming misogyny that our main character deals with on the daily, the like weird sexual assault innuendos that are happening, they're not something that I'm finding myself extremely intrigued by. And while I can perhaps enjoy a story where the prisoner, because this is called the Pleaded Prisoner series, so the prisoner finding her romance and finding freedom to be appealing, because that is what appealed me to Akamath. I read it quite soon after feeling trapped in a like emotionally abusive relationship, and so I can understand the appeal of this because I found that in Akamath. But I don't know if this book and if Raven Kennedy's writing is captivating enough for me to continue in this series. So I'm going to finish the last third. I'm really hoping I can finish it within the next hour or so. Then that will be the end of the vlog. We'll see how my feelings for Guild, if they change, if they don't. Who knows? Hello, welcome to the end of the vlog, and let's get into my final thoughts on Guild by Raven Kennedy. I ended up giving this 2 stars. I understand that some people are going to come to me and tell me that there's more to this series than just the first book, and that the love interest hasn't even been revealed to us yet. So how can I even know if I like the romance if I have not met the romantic interest. And I've heard that the world is so expansive and the story is so great. Cool, 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 cool. But honestly, despite all of that, I do not see myself continuing with this series based on the first criteria that we had for this vlog in general, which was that the book has to balance the fantasy aspect with the romantic aspect to make me enjoy it. And this one was just lacking in both fronts, I fear. Honestly, this was a really difficult read for me because a lot of the on-page sexual assault was just so like graphic and hard to read. And I just really can't excuse the amount of misogyny I read in this book to then get into better books. I think the world building was fine, but the character development was pretty predictable and all of the men were really just trash. So I think I'm really good leaving it here, honestly. There were moments in the plot in the middle, like third of the book, that I was like, okay, this could be going somewhere, this could be interesting, which is why I can't fully give it like a 1 star because there was that aspect that I was like, okay, I'm seeing something. But the last third was just like a rehash of the beginning, and there was just on page sexual assault, just blatant misogyny that I just could not care less anymore. So 2 stars. I guess we're fine ending the vlog this way because I think it's like an interesting way to end the vlog, but I'm a little disappointed to be ending the vlog this way. But alas, let's get into my final thoughts of all of the books I read for this vlog. The first of which, of course, being the winner for this vlog, which is The Serpents and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I found this perfectly balanced, a interesting, fantastical world building and plot point with a really, really, really dynamic romance between our hero and heroine. And I just really, really liked this. I'm so excited for my book buying ban to be over for me to pick up if I'm strong, if I'm not weak, to pick up the next in this series, just because I really, really loved the writing, the world building, the plot, the romance. Everything was just a nice check mark for me, and I found this to be a really solid romantasy, so I completely understand the hype. Coming down, I think, from that excitement really is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco, which I gave a 3 stars, just not the most interesting for me. Then another one where I understand the hype, but I still think there is a lot of work to be done in regards to creating a really, really solid book. But Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, loved it. 3.5 stars though, but still really, really enjoyed it. I understand the hype. I can't wait to get into the second book as well. And then, of course, as you just saw, ending the vlog on a little bit of a downer, we have a 2 star from Guild by Raven Kennedy. That's it. That's it for this vlog. Please let me know down below if you've read any of these books. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know. Of course, if you would like to follow my reading journey, I always leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. Of course, I can't end the video without saying that those 3 platforms are owned by people who want to be a part of an oppressive system. And until we are able to use these for our personal gain, they will be linked down below. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye.